Welcome to Natural Health Talk, your go-to podcast for all things related to holistic wellness, natural remedies, and living a balanced, healthy lifestyle. Be sure to visit our sponsor, topnaturalhealth.com, for special promo code pricing on all of the products mentioned in our episodes.
You know, aging, it's something we all experience, but it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But I think most of us can agree that we want to feel our best no matter how old we are.
Absolutely.
And that's what has us kind of diving into PrimeGENIX today. This company, they're really catching my eye with how they look at men's health, specifically over 40.
Yeah, they've really honed in on this idea of helping men reclaim that feeling of vitality. And that's what we're going to look at today. Like, do their methods actually hold up to the science?
Yeah.
And we're going to be pulling some information from topnaturalhealth.com. It's a website. They're all about natural health and wellness. And listeners, by the way, if you're interested in PrimeGENIX after this deep dive, head over to topnaturalhealth.com. They've got some special pricing with promo codes available, so check it out.
Now, before we get into like all the details of PrimeGENIX's products, let's set the stage. What happens to the male body as we hit 40 and beyond?
Well, probably the biggest thing is testosterone production. It naturally declines. And this hormone, it's a big deal. It has a crucial role in tons of functions in the body. Building muscle mass, regulating how much energy we have, even libido.
Yeah, testosterone, people talk about it as like the cornerstone of being a man, of male vitality. So I can see how when the levels start to go down, men are going to feel that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not even just about, losing a little muscle definition, although for some guys that's a thing. We're talking, your energy levels all day, mood swings, having trouble sleeping even.
Yeah, I can see why that would make someone feel, well, not great, And then they'd start looking for ways to feel that vitality again. And that's where PrimeGENIX is saying, hey, we've got solutions. And they're tailoring these solutions to the very specific challenges that men face as they get older. But the question is, can they actually reverse aging? Or is this really clever marketing?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to find out.
Okay.
They've got a whole bunch of supplements, and they say each one is designed to address some aspect of male health over 40.
So it's a targeted approach, which is interesting. And they seem to be into this idea of using natural ingredients and then addressing what they call the root cause, right? Instead of just masking the symptoms, which I do think is interesting.
Yeah, they play that up quite a bit. And I think that's something that people are really looking for these days, something natural that works with their body. But as always, do those ingredients actually live up to the hype? That's what we have to look at.
Exactly. So their main product, their flagship product, testosterone.
Okay.
I think you can probably guess what it is, right?
Yeah.
Testosterone booster. But they're claiming a 72.87% increase in free testosterone levels. I mean, wow, that's a lot, right?
It's a big claim, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think anytime you see something that big, it's natural to be a little skeptical.
Yeah.
But before we say it's just marketing, let's actually look at testosterone. And the big ingredient for them is fenugreek extract.
Fenugreek. I feel like I've heard that. That's an herb, isn't it?
It is an herb.
What's the science there?
Yeah, it's been used in traditional medicine for a very long time. You even see it in a lot of different cuisines. But for testosterone, PrimeGENIX says that what's in fenugreek, the compounds can actually block the enzyme that converts testosterone into DHT.
DHT? Now remind me what DHT is again.
So DHT is dihydrotestosterone, and it's a hormone that comes from testosterone. And while it does have a role in male development, if you've got high levels of DHT later in life, it's been linked to, things like hair loss or even prostate problems.
Okay, so the fenugreek, by potentially limiting that conversion from testosterone to DHT, could lead to a better, I guess, a more favorable hormonal profile for men as they age?
Yeah, you could say that. Now, something important to keep in mind is that research on fenugreek, how well it boosts testosterone, is still going on, and the results, they're mixed. Some studies show some promising results, but others aren't as clear. It's not like a magic solution, you know what I mean?
So it's not like you just take a pill and suddenly, boom, 72% increase in testosterone. There's more to it than that.
There's always more to it.
As always.
And that's what we're here to figure out.
Right.
PrimeGENIX also says there are benefits like more strength, better stamina, libido is better, even your mood is improved. And yeah, those are all things that, if you have healthy testosterone levels, they could be positively affected. But we've got to look at, the actual research, how they did the research, and then, of course, how do individuals respond? Because that's different for everybody.
Yeah, of course. So we're not going to take their word for it. We're going to look at what the science actually says. But before we move on, I am curious about the other hormones in play here. Because testosterone, it doesn't just exist in isolation, right?
No, you're totally right.
There's a whole system there.
It's all connected. The endocrine system is like this big web of interactions, right? And there are other hormones that can really make a difference for men's health as they age.
So when we're talking about hormones being in balance, what are some of the other big ones that we should be thinking about?
Well, cortisol is a big one.
Cortisol?
You know it as the stress hormone?
Yeah, stress hormone, it's gotten kind of a bad rap, hasn't it?
It has.
But we need some stress, right?
We do. You need cortisol. It helps you respond to stress. It regulates your energy and all kinds of bodily functions.
Right.
But just like anything, it's about balance.
Right.
So when men have chronic stress, those cortisol levels are up all the time, and that's when the problems start.
So too much cortisol for too long, that's the thing to avoid. What's the impact? What happens?
Oh, man. It can be a lot of things.
Yeah.
You can have fatigue, weight gain, trouble sleeping, even your brain, how well you think can be affected.
Yeah.
It's like your body is stuck in overdrive.
Yeah. I know when I'm stressed, I can definitely feel it. The fatigue, I can't think straight. It's real.
Oh, yeah.
So it affects you physically, not just mentally and emotionally.
That's exactly it. And PrimeGENIX seems like they're trying to address this with their DIM 3X product. They say that it helps balance estrogen levels in men, which, when you first hear that, you're like, wait, what?
Estrogen, that's right. Men have estrogen too. I'd forgotten about that. It's just in smaller amounts. But how does estrogen play into the cortisol issues?
So it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
When you've got all that cortisol running through your body because you're stressed, the other hormonal systems, they can get out of whack.
Okay.
And for men, sometimes that means that their estrogen levels get out of balance.
Okay. So what happens when a man has too much estrogen?
Well, it could be different things.
Mm-hmm.
You might be more tired. You could gain weight, especially around the belly.
Oh, no.
Maybe mood swings, too.
Okay.
Basically, when the estrogen is off, it can throw other things off, too.
So DIM 3X, this is where it comes in, right? It's like the regulator. It's going to keep those estrogen levels in check.
Right.
But what is DIM? It sounds like, I don't know, something from chemistry class.
It does sound kind of technical, but it actually comes from a natural source.
Okay.
DIM stands for diindolylmethane. It's a compound, and you find it in cruciferous vegetables.
Wait, are you saying I can get DIM from eating broccoli?
Yeah. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, they all have it.
All the good stuff.
Yep, those veggies are like superheroes. But I'll be honest, I don't always eat as many as I should.
Same here, I'm not going to lie.
It's tough.
And that's where a supplement is like, well, that's easier.
Exactly. That's what they're for. It's way more concentrated than what you'd get from food. Although, obviously, still eat your veggies.
Of course. But how does it work? How does DIM do its magic?
So DIM, it seems to help keep the balance of estrogen metabolites in your body healthy.
Okay.
Basically, it helps your body process and get rid of extra estrogen better.
So it's not about getting rid of it completely. It's about making sure it's processed the right way.
Right, exactly.
It's really interesting. So is there research that shows that DIM can actually balance hormones like that?
Yeah, there's some good research out there, but of course, they're always doing more.
Of course.
Some studies have shown that DIM can help with the ratio of estrogen metabolites being healthy.
Okay.
And that could potentially mean that you see less of those negative effects we talked about, like the belly fat, mood swings, being tired all the time.
So it's supporting your body's natural processes, and that can impact your well-being overall. Like that saying, if one thing's off, everything's off.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
It's all connected.
Hormones are a big deal for your health and how much energy you have and just feeling good. And if you can address those imbalances, even the ones that seem small, it can make a huge difference. Now, we've talked about testosterone, we've talked about estrogen, but PrimeGENIX, they also have these products that are about energy, burning fat, and doing better when you work out.
Mm-hmm.
Calm Lean and Pre-Workout Plus.
Right. Okay, let's talk about those. Calm Lean. I'm very curious about that one. It's a fat burner, but it doesn't have stimulants.
That's kind of different, right? Don't most fat burners have caffeine or something to get your metabolism going?
You're right, a lot of them do.
It's true. Most of them do. So Calm Lean is like, what, the gentler approach? Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
What's their secret? How is this supposed to work?
Well, they don't really give you all the details on their website, but they do mention things like L-carnitine and forskolin, which, there's been studies about how they could maybe help with fat metabolism. L-carnitine, now that one I've heard of, that's something to do with like turning fat into energy, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's an amino acid, and it helps move fatty acids into the mitochondria, which is like the powerhouse of the cell, right?
Right.
So basically, it's helping your body use the fat for fuel.
Okay, that makes sense. What about for scolin? I think I've heard of that one.
So for scolin, it's a compound, comes from this plant, Coleus forscoli. And it's been used in traditional medicine for a long time, centuries even. But they think that it helps you burn fat because it activates this enzyme, adenylate cyclase, and that's involved in a bunch of different things your cells do, including breaking down fat.
So both of those, the L-carnitine and this forscolin, they're working in the background to kind of boost your body's own natural fat-burning stuff. But, okay, if you don't have that caffeine kick, does Calm Lean actually do anything? Like, will people see a difference?
That is the big question, right? And honestly, it's not a simple answer.
Yeah.
The research on L-carnitine and forscolin is promising, but it's a mixed bag, really. Some studies show they definitely help you lose fat, but some show only a little difference, and some show basically nothing.
So it's like results may vary.
Exactly. Everyone is different. It could be your genes, your body type, how active you are, even your diet. All of that can change how well something like Calm Lean will work for you.
Right. Right. It's fascinating how different we all are. Okay, well, we talked about PrimeGENIX saying they're all about clinical studies and being CGMP certified. What does that even mean for the average person? Does that mean it's good quality, that it'll work?
Well, it's definitely a good sign. I mean, it's better than nothing.
Right. So, CGMP, that's current good manufacturing practices.
Oh.
And basically, it's a set of rules from the FDA to make sure that when companies make supplements, they're doing it safely and the quality is there.
So it's like, okay, they've got the stamp of approval. We know they're following the rules when they're making the stuff. But what about the actual studies they're talking about? Have they actually tested these specific formulas to see if they work?
That's where it gets a little fuzzy. So they do point to studies on their main ingredients, like we talked about, the fenugreek and the DIM, right? But they don't always make it clear if those studies were on those specific ingredients by themselves or if it was their actual formulas with everything mixed together.
It's like you can have all the best ingredients for a cake, but that doesn't mean the cake is going to be good.
Right.
It's how you put them all together that matters. That's a great way to put it. Just because something works by itself doesn't mean it's going to work the same way when you combine it with other stuff. And then, of course, there's always the fact that everyone reacts differently. We've said that a few times, but it's important.
Totally. So, okay, let's get down to what's the verdict. Is PrimeGENIX legit? Are they really going to help guys feel that vitality again as they age? Or is this mostly like good marketing?
Honestly, I think it's both. It's a tough one, right? They're dealing with something a lot of men are worried about, and they're trying to do it right, with good ingredients and following the rules. But just like with any supplement company, you have to think critically, Don't just believe everything you see.
Do your research, talk to your doctor, don't just listen to one company and what they tell you.
Exactly. You're responsible for your own health, so make good decisions.
That's good advice for sure. Okay, so we talked about a lot today. Testosterone going down, how DIM might be helpful, even fat burners that don't make you jittery. What are like the big things people should remember from this?
Well, you can't stop getting older, but feeling good as you age, that's a journey.
Right.
It's not about getting somewhere. It's about how you get there. And there are definitely things we can do to help our bodies do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
PrimeGENIX might be one way, but there are others too.
Yeah, it's about taking charge of your health, making smart choices that work for you, for your body, your goals, all of that.
That's it. Don't be afraid to ask questions, do some research on your own, and have a real conversation with your doctor or whoever you see for your health.
And on that note, think about this. What's the most important thing to you as you get older? Do you want more energy? Are you hoping to feel happier, more stable? Is it about your physical strength, being able to do the things you want to do? Once you figure out your priorities, then you can start making better choices, right? You can decide which things will actually work for you.
That's a great point. It's about what works for you and nobody else.
Exactly. And just remember, this is just the beginning. We've only scratched the surface here. There's so much information out there. So keep learning, keep being curious, keep diving deep.
From all of us here at Natural Health Talk, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to visit our sponsor, topnaturalhealth.com, for special promo code pricing on all of the products mentioned in this episode.